Hello and welcome to this brief video introduction to the Qvinci KPI Scorecard. One of the great things about the KPI Scorecard is that it works for any multi-entity grouping, whether it's franchises, dioceses, multi-entity businesses, or accountants who have a plurality of clients in the same industry. Entities don't need to be part of the same EIN business, as Qvinci's patented benchmarking allows anonymized comparisons across like kinds. Why is the Qvinci KPI scorecard important and why do you care? Because comparing meaningful KPIs of what you are doing to what you have done, and more importantly to what others like you have done, is the very best way to improve what you will do in the future. So this video is going to show you what it is and how to easily deploy to all of your users to run as a customized virtual dashboard of KPIs. The scorecard sits in the Qvinci gallery with our other existing templates. And we make a copy of this template into your Mind tab, which is basically your personal library of templates. We then customize it to your chart of accounts specifications. Once done, it's literally a 10-second process to make the template available to be run by all your users in the field, whether there's one user or 1,000 users. So deployment is very, very quick and very, very easy. The templates look very similar to an Excel worksheet with a plurality of tabs and each tab containing a KPI or a BI presentation of data. So the first tab in the scorecard is the guidance page, and this is the guidance page, and I've made a few modifications here so you can see the types of things you can change and what you can change them to. The first thing we do is we change the chart of accounts that we want to track, and you can see that we have 5 accounts here that can be modified in the income, COGS, expenses, and generic KPI. I've put in my own chart of accounts of other income and patient fees, product material, widget assembly 1, accounting and liability insurance, professional services, and office staff. We will customize these accounts for you. But these are the accounts that are going to be used for this exercise. Now, in addition to these accounts, we have some generic accounts, for instance, COGS ratio, gross margin ratio, profitability, labor, advertising, and months of cash. This defines the KPIs accounts that we're going to be monitoring. Another thing you can change on this page is these are our default descriptions of how to interpret the accounts and the formulas used in this section. These can be completely modified to be whatever you want them to be for your specific use case. The next tab is called the KPI tab, and you click this tab and this is where the results begin to flow. You'll see our chart of accounts is carried over. Now what you'll do is you'll also define the low and the high ideal range. In this case, on other income, it's 5 to 8%. You'll do this for each account that we are tracking. What happens is we compare your actuals for this fiscal year to date for the file that this was run against. The user logs in and runs this report, and this is the results for this fiscal year and last fiscal year. The color coding means this. If this value falls below the low, it's going to be red. If it is above, in the income example, patient fees, if it is above, in the case 99.8%, it's green. If it falls in the range, for instance, other staff compensation, is between these two parameters, it's black. So in this case, as an example, total expense ratio, you've set a parameter of minimum of 40% and a high of 50%. Actuals are 55.5%. Therefore, it is red, telling us that the data in this column is either in specification or good or bad by color coding. Now, in addition, we pull the last fiscal year. So if this fiscal year to date, last fiscal year to date, this column compares these two to each other. And if this fiscal year is better than last fiscal year, you get a check. If liability insurance is 0.6% and it was 0.2%, that is worse, you get an X. And this carries all the way through, comparing this fiscal year to last fiscal year. Well, sometimes you run this in January and February. There's not much data, and so you don't have a lot of history. So what you'd like to see is, how am I doing this fiscal year compared to my last 12 months? And that's what this column is. How did we do over the last 12 months? These are called the entity ratios. And the last thing that we give you that's really, really powerful is I get to compare all of these numbers to the other entities in the ecosystem. If I'm a franchise, this is my company compared to the average of the franchise ecosystem, or the top 20%. If I'm a multi-unit entity, same thing. If I'm a diocese, my parish compared to other parishes. And in the case of an accountant, like we discussed earlier, You may have a plurality of dentists. You run this for one dentist, and this is how he compares to the other dentists that you have. Again, this report is industry agnostic. It doesn't matter what the industry is. You'll define the chart of accounts, and it will run. Very, very powerful report that gives you trending, comparative analysis, and peer benchmarking. On the next tab, we have the year-over-year KPIs, where we show you the income and net income month-over-month, year-over-year with the variance. And then we give it to you graphically. And the red line is the variance line, and if the red line falls below the right axis 0 point, this tells you that this year compared to last year is not doing as well. Very great, powerful report, very easy to understand. The next tab is similar. It's the running cash balance, year over year, month over month with a variance. The next tab is the top 10 expenses in descending order. And this is really, really powerful because what it does, it automatically gives you the chart of accounts, the top 10 expenses in descending order. It gives you this fiscal year to date's totals. It gives you a percent of total income for this fiscal year and last fiscal year. And again, we do conditional formatting. If this fiscal year's expense is higher than last year's fiscal expense, it's going to be red. If it's better, it's going to be green. In this case, we can see that the total for the top 10 expenses is 38.5% compared to last year at 30.9%. Therefore, we're spending more than we did last year. And the last tab in the KPI is the ARAP Amount report. And what this shows you is these are the amounts that were in the AR aging, as of the end of August and July. These are the totals that were in play for AR and AP. And what the analysis does is it says, how am I doing month over month? Is my AR growing or is it reducing? And so that's what this diff data is down here. In other words, it's $63,000 more in AR in August than I had in July. And we plot that out down here and show you the movement. Because what we want to see is, while our AR may be growing, we don't want to see it getting bigger and bigger and bigger because that tells us we're not collecting as well. And all of these reports together make up the KPI Scorecard. It's very easy to run. We're going to show you how to deploy that next. So what we want to do is we want to get this report running in the hands of all of our users in the field for the files that they have. And it's very simple. You go to the libraries page, the gallery shared with me and mine. Now, the report we were just looking at, I called and I put in my mine tab called My Units. And I want all my franchisees or all my units in the field to be able to run this report. Well, all I have to do, now that this is set and it's customized and it's working, all I have to do is pin it. I click the pin button. And when I pin it, a runnable copy shows up in the pin tab. And here it is. And here's how your end users run this solution. When they log into Qvinci, they'll go to the pin tab. They will go to filter entities, and in this case, I own all of these QuickBooks files, but I only want to run it for Apple Family Dental. But I could run it across all of them because the KPI Scorecard will consolidate. So I select the entity that I want, and I simply click the Preview button. When I click the Preview button, Qvinci says, okay, go get the data for Apple Family Dental, bring it together, and build all these KPIs and put it on the screen for the user. And here it is. Here's my guidance page as the owner of Apple Family Dental. Here's my KPI page with all my data in it, and you will have filled out the rest of these accounts, so you're using your real accounts as the corporate office. And here's all these other tabs that we just went through and I showed you that pertain to Apple Family Dental. It's that quick and that powerful. It will replace your dashboard that you've got with much more meaningful metrics, relative, trended, scalable. And again, if you have a client that has, or you have a franchisee, and they have 10 or 15 files, you can run this on one file. You can run this on many files. It's that quick. And here's what's really great about this. Let's say that you come back 2 months from now and you say, you know what, we don't need to track other income anymore in the income section. I want to track widget for sales. You come in, you make a change to this account to widget for sales, and instantaneously, because you changed it in your template, everyone who has it pinned has that change immediately. You don't have to do anything other than change the name of the account in the template. We know this is going to be really, really powerful for you. It's extremely powerful, very fast deployment, as I showed you, and we stand ready to help you customize this to what you specifically need for you and or your clients and or your units in the field. Have a great day. We know you're going to like the Qvinci KPI Scorecard.